Welcome to the Hidden Wealth Coins. Listen, before you blink, understand this. Somewhere in an old drawer, inside a forgotten jar, or buried in a rusted box, you might already be holding a coin so powerful, so unbelievably rare, that its value could explode your life overnight. These old American cents hide million-dollar destinies, shocking auction records, and unimaginable secrets. Stay with me, because one of these tiny coins might be the very treasure that rewrites your entire future. First up, before you even breathe, understand this truth. The 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny, this tiny, silent, almost invisible coin, carries a story so powerful, so heart-shaking, so destiny-bending, that people who once ignored it now regret it for the rest of their lives. Because hidden inside this simple 1-cent piece is a value that can rise from just pennies to thousands, tens of thousands, and in the cleanest, untouched, almost heavenly condition, even push toward life-changing six-figure miracles that collectors fight for in auctions like wolves chasing a final breath of hope. This is not just a coin. This is a heartbeat frozen in copper. A doorway to fortune disguised as a cent. A silent guardian of wealth that most people walk past without knowing they just stepped over their own destiny. The 1935 wheat penny was born in a time of survival. The Great Depression still echoed in American hearts. Every cent was lifeline, every coin a whisper of hunger or hope. So imagine something created in such struggle, surviving almost 90 years, slipping through hands, pockets, dreams, and forgotten memories, and now resurfacing as a treasure that could rewrite your entire future. When collectors look at this coin today, they don't just see old copper. They see history, resilience, rarity, and the possibility of wealth no one expects from a single penny. But listen closely, because the unbelievable happens here. Most people think a 1935 penny is common. But the shocking truth is that only a microscopic fraction survive with sharp details, untouched surfaces, blazing natural luster, and perfect preservation. Those rare, breathtaking survivors, the ones in MS-66, MS-67, and above, are the ones that explode in auctions with values so high they feel unreal. A regular circulated 1935 penny may sell for a few dollars, maybe $10, $20, sometimes $50 in decent shape. But the moment this coin crosses into the realm of perfection, everything changes. Because in the highest condition, this coin has shocked collectors with prices hitting $10, $000, $20, $000, even crossing toward $50,000 for the finest known examples. And just imagine, a coin worth 1 cent suddenly climbing to the cost of a car, a wedding, a house deposit, maybe even a miracle someone prayed for. There are collectors right now, wealthy, fierce, determined, who would pay staggering amounts for a 1935 wheat penny with flawless surfaces, untouched fields, razor-sharp wheat stalks, glowing copper brilliance, and every tiny detail shining as if it never lived a single day in circulation. Those coins, the ones born to be legends, are the ones that cross auction stages with crowds silently holding their breath. And when the bidding explodes, $5, $000, $8, $000, $12, $000, $18, $000, $26,000, every person in that room realizes they are witnessing something more than money. They're witnessing destiny sealed in metal. But what's even more shocking? Many people already own this coin without knowing its potential. It hides in old jars, dusty boxes, inherited collections, forgotten metal tins from grandparents, or buried deep in a drawer untouched for decades. And someone, somewhere right now, has a 1935 penny sitting under a lamp, glowing with nearly perfect surfaces, waiting for the moment the world discovers it's a treasure worth thousands, maybe tens of thousands. If that person is you, then your life might be standing one step away from a miracle you never imagined. The emotional power of this coin doesn't just come from its value. It comes from its journey. Think about it. This penny survived the 1930s when families counted change for bread. It passed through hands working long hours in factories, through pockets carrying dreams of better days, through soldiers, farmers, shopkeepers, mothers, and children. This coin lived stories before it reached you. It is history you can hold. And for the rarest, most flawless examples, it is a miracle that something so delicate survived untouched for nearly a century. And that's the magic that collectors chase. The story plus the rarity plus the condition plus the survival. When all four merge into one coin, its value can skyrocket into heart-stopping numbers. Auction houses have listed the finest 1935 wheat pennies with expectations soaring into the tens of thousands. And the shocking thing is, collectors still battle for them like gold. Because they know a copper miracle like this doesn't appear often. They know the finest ones might never appear again. They know each coin is a once-in-a-lifetime dream. So if you find a 1935 penny in your home, don't spend it, don't ignore it, don't toss it into change. Hold it like a secret treasure. Examine it. Study it. Because if your coin has the crisp lines, the sharp Lincoln portrait, the glowing copper surfaces, and the untouched beauty of a high-grade specimen, then you might be holding the ticket that transforms an ordinary life into one touched by the extraordinary. And if it reaches the highest certified grades, MS66, MS67, or higher, then yes, it can reach those unbelievable numbers, $10,000, $20,000, even $40,000 or more, depending on rarity and perfection. This isn't fantasy. This is the reality of the rare 1935 wheat penny, a coin born from hardship, carrying history, and capable of exploding your fortune in a way no one ever expects from a simple 1-cent piece. It reminds us that sometimes, the smallest things hold the biggest miracles. Next up. Before you underestimate this innocent-looking 1953 Lincoln wheat penny, listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you will shake your breath loose from your chest. This is not just a coin. This is a storm of destiny sealed in copper. People throw this penny aside like it's nothing, just another old cent, a leftover memory from the past. But in the rarest untouched, heaven-like condition, this simple 1-cent piece has climbed to auction heights so shocking, so unbelievable, that collectors have stood frozen, unable to speak, as the bidding erupted like an earthquake of money. And somewhere right now, maybe even in your home, this exact coin is hiding with a value that could flip your entire life upside down. The year 1953 was a time when America was rising from war shadows, rebuilding hope, and carrying the dreams of millions in every pocket. People worked long hours, coins rattled through hands every day, and every cent was used, spent, circulated, and worn down. And that's what makes the surviving high-grade 1953 wheat penny so unbelievably rare. A nearly perfect 1953 cent is a miracle, something that should not exist, something that defied time itself. Imagine a copper coin surviving 70 years without a single scratch, without losing its fiery red glow, without the fingerprints of decades. That kind of perfection is almost supernatural. Collectors call those miracles red gem wheat cents, the ones with blazing, untouched color and surfaces so stunning they look like they were minted yesterday. These are the coins that break auction floors. These are the coins that bring life-changing value. These are the coins that can turn a regular person into someone staring at a 5-figure check, breath-trembling, heart-pounding, destiny suddenly rewritten. Yes, the ordinary circulated 1953 penny might be worth a few dollars, maybe $10 or $20 in better shape. But when this coin reaches peak preservation, when it hits the legendary grades like MS66 red, MS67 red, or the almost mythical MS68 red, its value doesn't just rise, it explodes. Auctions have recorded jaw-dropping results like $5,000, $9,000, even crossing $20,000 for the most breathtaking examples. Imagine that, 1 cent suddenly becoming the price of a car, a year of rent, or a dream someone thought they could never reach. And here's the part that twists your heart. The person who originally held this penny in 1953 had no idea. To them, it was just a coin for groceries, for milk, for bus fare. But today, collectors stare at the rare untouched survivors like they're sacred relics, objects carrying history, time, and fate inside their copper shells. When a flawless 1953 penny steps into the light of an auction room, the atmosphere changes instantly. Bidders lean forward. The room sharpens. The air feels tense. Because everyone knows this is a moment where a miracle might happen. And then the bidding begins. $2,000, $3,500, $5,200, $7,800, $10,400. The numbers rise like a heartbeat racing toward a destiny no one can predict. Each shout is louder than the last. And when the hammer finally drops, someone walks away with a coin worth more than gold itself. But what makes this coin even more mysterious is how many people unknowingly own it. The 1953 wheat penny hides in old coffee jars, dusty drawers, childhood coin boxes, inherited collections, and forgotten pockets of jackets from decades past. Someone right now, maybe even you, could be holding a penny with surfaces untouched by time, a coin glowing with its original red fire, a coin capable of breaking the silence of an entire auction hall. If that coin is in your hands, it could rewrite your financial life in a single moment. Try to imagine this. You open an old box, sift through some old cents, and your fingers land on a 1953 wheat penny with razor-sharp details, shimmering color, and perfect smooth fields. And without knowing it, you're touching a treasure that could sell for thousands, maybe tens of thousands if it sits near the highest grading peaks. That emotional moment, that sudden realization, that shock of holding something priceless in your hand, that is the magic of this coin. But the story doesn't end there. The 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny reminds us that destiny has strange ways of reaching us. A coin minted in a world decades away, a world without the technology we have now, a world of hard work and hope, somehow carries a message into our present. It whispers that value can hide in plain sight. That miracles don't always look like treasure chests. Sometimes, they look like a single forgotten penny. Collectors cherish this coin not only for its monetary worth but for its emotional depth. This coin witnessed families surviving hard times, soldiers returning home, children saving coins for candy, parents budgeting every cent, and generations building new lives. Every tiny mark on a circulated 1953 penny tells a story. And every flawless example tells a miracle. So never underestimate this humble wheat cent. In the right condition, it is not just a coin, it is a silent millionaire maker. It is a copper miracle. It is destiny in your palm. And if you have one untouched, flawless, glowing example, your life could change with one auction, one bid, one breathtaking moment where a coin meant for 1 cent becomes worth tens of thousands. This is the power, the mystery, and the emotional shock of the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Next up. Before you blink, before your heart even settles into its rhythm, listen closely, because the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny is not just a coin. It is a thunderbolt of destiny disguised as a piece of copper. A survivor of one of history's darkest times. A tiny fragment of a world at war. A penny that somehow carried the heartbeat of millions through the fires of 1944 and lived long enough to become a treasure so valuable, so breathtakingly rare in its finest form, that collectors tremble when they see one in perfect condition. What I'm about to tell you is not just shocking, it's life-changing. In the chaos of World War II, when families were praying for loved ones overseas, when ration books controlled daily life, when every penny mattered more than ever, this little 1944 wheat penny circulated through trembling hands. Some bought bread with it. Some carried it for luck. Some held it inside their pocket while reading letters from soldiers fighting oceans away. This coin lived emotion, fear, hope, tears, and dreams. And today, the rarest and most pristine survivors of this year have become prizes worth unimaginable amounts. Pieces so powerful that they can rewrite someone's financial reality overnight. The regular 1944 copper penny? Millions were minted. It seems common. But what the world forgets is that almost every single one was used, worn down, scratched, handled, and passed through life in a storm of war and rebuilding. That's why a flawless, untouched, perfectly preserved 1944 wheat penny is a miracle beyond miracles. A coin that survived war, survived circulation, survived decades of human history, without losing its glow, its sharp details, its original fire. Those rare gems are the coins that collectors fight for like lions starving for their last breath of hope. And when these rare survivors reach the highest grades, MS-67, MS-68, and the nearly mythical MS-69 red, their value explodes beyond imagination. We're talking $10, $000, $25, $000, $50, $000, and for the most breathtaking, near-perfect examples, even auction sales pushing past the $100,000 mark. Just imagine that for a moment. 1 penny, worth only 1 cent, suddenly worth more than luxury cars, life savings, even entire homes. That is the shocking power of the 1944 wheat penny in elite condition. But the story becomes even more unbelievable. Because the year 1944 produced something accidental, something legendary, something so rare that if you found one today, your life would change instantly. White medium star, the 1944 steel wheat penny. A mistake. A miracle. A coin so impossibly rare that it feels like destiny created it for one lucky finder. There are only a handful known to exist. And these coins have sold $4.250, $000, $400, even pushing toward the unbelievable $500,000 mark. This is the kind of coin that makes collectors gasp. The kind that appears in headlines. The kind that transforms ordinary people into millionaires overnight. But even the regular copper 1944 penny can be outrageously valuable in pristine, untouched condition. Imagine a coin glowing like molten sunlight under a glass case, its fields so smooth they reflect the world like a mirror. Imagine a coin with not a single scratch from 80 years of life. These coins, these flawless survivors, are the ones that break auction records with lightning speed. Now picture this, somewhere in a dusty drawer, inside a forgotten jar, in a toolbox, in an attic, in an old envelope passed down from a grandfather who once carried it during the hardest days of his life. One of these coins is waiting. Waiting for the day someone picks it up and realizes they are holding a treasure worth more than their imagination can handle. And that person could be you. Imagine opening an old coin collection from a relative, flipping through pennies, and suddenly noticing one that looks strangely perfect, sharp details, glowing red color, untouched surfaces. And then imagine the shiver running down your spine when you discover it's a 1944 wheat penny in nearly perfect condition. A coin capable of selling for thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even into six-figure territory if it's one of the rarest varieties. That moment, your hands shaking, your breath breaking, your heart pounding with disbelief, that is not just excitement. That is destiny knocking. Collectors don't just pay for coins. They pay for survival, history, perfection, and the miracle of time. The 1944 wheat penny embodies all of that. And when a rare gem from this year enters the spotlight of an auction hall, everything changes. The room goes silent. The bidding starts softly, $3, $000, $4, $200, $6, $800. Then suddenly, $12, $000, $18, $500, $27,000. The energy rises like a storm. And when the final bid thunders across the room, someone walks away holding a coin that cost 1 cent and sold for the price of a dream. And here's the emotional truth. This coin doesn't just hold value. It holds humanity. It holds history. It holds the silent tears and hopes of the people who lived through 1944. And now, it might hold your future. Next up. Before your eyes even settle on the small date, 1951, let your heart prepare, because this is not simply a penny. This is a silent explosion of history, destiny, and unimaginable value wrapped inside a coin that millions of people once spent carelessly without knowing they were holding a treasure capable of transforming someone's entire future. The 1951 Lincoln wheat penny, in ordinary life, seems common, but in its rarest, untouched, heaven-level condition, it can rise to auction values that make even the calmest collectors tremble. And the moment you understand why, you will never look at an old coin the same way again. The year 1951 was a breath between storms, after World War II, before the rapid transformations of the late 1950s. People lived simply but carried deep scars. Every penny mattered. It bought bread, it paid for gas, it jingled in pockets of hard-working Americans rebuilding their lives. And because these pennies were used daily, almost every single one became scratched, worn, bent, rubbed, or drained of its original fiery beauty. That's why the 1951 wheat penny in perfect condition, fully red, glowing like it just stepped out of the mint, is a treasure that borders on the impossible. Collectors call the finest examples red gem wheat pennies, and they are not just coins. They are miracles preserved in copper. When a 1951 penny shines with its untouched luster, its razor-sharp lines, and its heavenly surfaces, the world sees a completely different value. Suddenly, this 1 cent becomes a rare piece of history worth hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, depending on just how flawless it is. And when lightning strikes, when a coin reaches those elite, almost myth-level grades like MS-67 red, MS-68 red, and the legendary dream of MS-69 red, its value can erupt like a volcano of wealth. Auction houses have recorded staggering results. $1, $500, $3, $000, $7, $500. Even pushing over $15,000 for the most breathtaking examples of the 1951 wheat penny. And these numbers aren't guesses. They're real, jaw-dropping auction outcomes that sent waves through the collector world. Imagine a coin worth just 1 cent suddenly becoming worth more than 10 months of rent, or a year of groceries, or the down payment on a car. That is the shocking reality of this small 1951 copper penny when it emerges in perfect preservation. But there is another layer of mystery here, because the 1951 penny exists in 3 different mint marks. 1951, Philadelphia, 1951, D, Denver, and 1951, S, San Francisco. And among these, certain variations in condition, strike, and luster have created hidden treasures that only the most trained eyes can recognize. You might hold a coin worth a few dollars, or you might, without knowing it, be holding a coin worth thousands. Now imagine this. Somewhere in an old house, perhaps inside a dusty wooden box or a metal tin forgotten by time, a perfectly untouched 1951 penny is waiting. Maybe your grandfather tucked it away. Maybe it slipped into a collection decades ago. Maybe it sits quietly in a jar mixed with other coins, its true value concealed under a disguise of simplicity. And someone, someday soon, will pick it up, feel the weight of its destiny, and realize they are holding a fortune hidden in plain sight. The emotional weight of the 1951 wheat penny doesn't just come from its value, it comes from its journey. Think about it, this coin survived 7 decades, through changing generations, through times of laughter and times of struggle. It survived pockets, wallets, counters, shops, streets, and storms. And yet, somehow, a few unbelievably rare examples survived untouched, unstained, uncirculated. Those coins are miracles. Those coins are blessings. Those coins are the ones that auction houses spotlight with glowing lights and dramatic silence as the bidding begins. Picture the room. Collectors leaning forward, breath held. The coin shining inside a clear slab like a captured flame. The auctioneer raises his voice. Do I hear $1,000? Hands rise. $2, $200, $3, $600, $5, $400. The bids climb like fire racing up a spark-dry mountain. Then $8, $200, $11, $000. Finally, the hammer slams down. Sold. A single penny. 1 cent. Transformed into a 4-figure or 5-figure treasure. But the most emotional part, the part that chills your spine, is knowing that these rare coins are not locked away in museums. They are out there. In homes. In boxes. In jars. In old coat pockets. In collections people inherited but never inspected closely. Somewhere, someone is holding a 1951 wheat penny with unbelievable value, and they have no idea. That person could be you. The 1951 wheat penny is a symbol of destiny. A whisper from the past. A reminder that sometimes the greatest fortune in your life is already in your hands. You just haven't recognized it yet. Next up. Before you even breathe, before your eyes settle on its date, prepare yourself, because the 1946 Lincoln wheat penny is not just a coin. It is a heartbeat from the end of a world-changing war. It is a survivor of a time when hope was fragile, when families prayed every night, when the world was learning to stand again. And in its rarest untouched form, this 1-cent coin can hold a value so shocking, so utterly unimaginable, that it has left collectors speechless and breathless at major auctions. What you are about to hear is not just information, it is a revelation that can flip your destiny like a page in a book written by fate itself. When 1946 arrived, the world was exhaling after the storm of World War II. Soldiers were coming home, families were reuniting, cities were healing. Money flowed again through hands that had survived unthinkable hardship. Every penny earned, every penny saved, carried stories of sacrifice and survival. That's why almost every 1946 penny is worn down, rubbed by time, aged by life. People use these coins for everything: food, bus rides, medicine, letters sent to loved ones. And because of that, the idea of a 1946 penny surviving untouched, glowing with its original fire-red shine, is nothing less than a miracle preserved in metal. Collectors today know the truth. The value of the 1946 wheat penny explodes not because it is rare in number, but because flawless perfection from this year is nearly impossible to find. Most coins from 1946 look tired. They show the marks of life, the echoes of war. But a pristine, uncirculated, fully red 1946 penny with sharp lines and breathtaking luster? That is the treasure. That is the miracle. That is the 1-cent coin that can transform into thousands, and in elite condition, even push toward eye-blinding, jaw-dropping, heart-stopping values that collectors fight over with fierce determination. The ordinary 1946 penny in used condition may sell for a few cents, maybe $1 or $2. But when this coin reaches the demanding perfection-level grades of MS66 red, MS67 red, MS68 red, something shocking happens. Its value multiplies with every tiny jump in quality. Suddenly, the price begins to rise like a firestorm. $200, $400, $900, $1, $800, $3, $200, $6, $500, and the greatest, most flawless examples of all, those few MS68 red survivors, have pushed past $15,000 and beyond. Imagine that, one small penny, born in a time of war, now worth more than an entire family's monthly income. Just because it survived in a condition so perfect that it seems almost unreal. But here's where the story becomes even more breathtaking. Because not only the red gems, but also certain die variations, striking qualities, and mint differences can push the 1946 penny into astonishing value ranges. The 1946 S and 1946 D pennies in elite condition have shattered expectations at auctions, surprising even experts. Some of these coins were hidden for decades in original mint rolls, stored in boxes forgotten in attics, left inside old family coin jars untouched by curious hands. And when they finally resurfaced, the world saw copper glowing like captured sunlight, as if sealed inside a time capsule. Now imagine this moment. You open a dusty drawer. Inside, you find a small cloth pouch. You open it, and a few old pennies spill out. Your fingers pick up one. 1946 glimmers back at you. It looks sharper than the rest, redder, brighter, cleaner. Your heartbeat quickens. Could it be? Is this the kind of rare, nearly perfect survivor that sells for thousands? Is this the coin destiny placed in your path? The coin that might change your life? That emotional explosion, that trembling shock, is exactly what thousands of people have experienced when they discovered the true power of the 1946 wheat penny in their possession. Collectors don't just see copper when they look at this coin. They see history sealed in metal. They see a story of resilience. They see a survivor that witnessed a world rising from darkness. And they will pay breathtaking amounts to own one of these flawless reminders of our past. Picture an auction room. Lights low. Collectors leaning forward. The 1946 wheat penny sits inside a clear slab, glowing like frozen fire. The auctioneer starts the bidding. Do I hear $900? A hand rises. $1, $400. Two more hands. $2, $700, $4, $200. The intensity grows. $7, $500, $10, $300. And then, $14, $600. The room falls silent. The hammer strikes. Sold. 1 penny. 1 cent. Transformed into a small fortune. And here is the most unbelievable part. Someone out there, maybe even you, already owns a 1946 wheat penny that could be worth thousands, quietly waiting to be recognized. This coin doesn't just carry value. It carries emotion. It carries destiny. It carries the power to turn an ordinary moment into one of the most shocking discoveries of your life.